Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the Cancer Conquering Community. We are so happy that you joined us today. We have an outstanding speaker. He's a regular member of our community. He's a 13-year survivor of melanoma. He's also had numerous brain surgeries and is just an absolute champion. He's a cancer coach, a nutritionist, as well as a hypnotherapist. And I'd like to introduce everyone to my friend, Mr. Georges Cordoba. Georges, please introduce yourself and then let's get into this great conversation.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and good morning, everybody. Lots of familiar faces. Valerie and the Queen. Haven't seen you before, so nice to meet you. My name is Georges Cordoba. I was born and raised in Caracas, Venezuela, of parents from Greece and Spain. They migrated to Venezuela after World War II. But that's where I grew up. English is my second language. When I get mad at myself, my name actually is Georges, but in Venezuela, everybody called me Jorge. And so it's so deep in my soul that, for example, when I'm playing the piano, I mess up and mess up again. I say, Jorge, come on, Jorge. I mean, it's in there, it's in my soul. But you can call me anything you want, Georges, George, Jorge. As Mark said, about 19 years ago now, actually it was in 2002, I was 42 years old. I was diagnosed with malignant melanoma. But before that, I like to tell you a little bit about my background, especially from my Greek side of the family. I grew up basically seeing family members died of cancer. I grew up to believe this is a really a belief of mine, or it was a belief of mine, that cancer would come to my family and take their life away. And as you know, and we'll talk about the rules of the mind today, everything you think and you say and you even imagine, the mind does everything possible with emotions to make it happen. So at the age of 4, I lost my Greek my grandfather of colon cancer, then 2 of my grandmother's sisters of breast cancer, and then 4 of my family members, an aunt, an uncle, my godfather, and my dear mom of lung cancer. Mind you, they were heavy smokers. The last one to pass was my mother at the age of 64, and 3 weeks after her passing, I too was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer, malignant melanoma. At the time, I had 5 young children. Now we're grandparents of 4 beautiful kids. But the youngest was 7, the oldest was 14. Then a pair of twins that were 10, and then Nico, our second kid, was 12 and a half. They were very close together. But that added an additional component of anxiety and stress. But I still remember the day of my diagnosis, which, by the way, no one is ever ready to hear a cancer diagnosis. It's just, whether you see all the stats today, 1 or 2 men will have cancer, 1 or 3 women will have cancer, it's just something that you don't want to hear. So if you can prevent it, I encourage you to do that. And we'll talk a little bit about things that that you can do. But the main thing today, and a key component to my healing, was the healing power of the mind. And if you allow me, Mark and I share the screen. Let's see. I send a
Hold on.
request. Let's see. Okay. All right, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So, what does the mind have to do really with healing from disease? I have to share that, first of all, I was sitting on my desk. I was actually, I transitioned from being a chief technology officer 8 years ago to become a holistic health coach, mainly because of my experience. But I remember like yesterday, and I was preparing this talk, I was reliving the experience. I'm sitting in my office waiting. I knew the doctor was going to call me for my biopsy results. It all started in the top of my scalp. And my assistant goes through the intercom, Mr. Cordoba, Dr. Trowers wants to speak with you urgently. Whew, I just, boy, I was so scared. I was so scared, mainly because the day before, when I went to see her and she was doing the biopsy, she had interns there. And she was explaining the lesion and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is not good. So I kind of knew what was coming. But so we talk. He goes, Mr. Cordoba, I have bad news for you. You came positive with malignant melanoma, and the lesion was ulcerated. So you have to move quickly. I'm faxing you the results and names of two doctors, the best two doctors in Southeast Florida. You need to contact them as soon as possible because this disease is very aggressive. So we hang up. I froze. Me congelé, Ligia. I froze. And I don't know how long I was in that state, but suddenly I found myself pacing from one side to the other in my office, going through all kinds of, it was an emotional roller coaster. This can happen, it's a mistake. I'm gonna have another biopsy, no way, why me? I have 5 kids, we do missionary work, I'm doing great, why me? What's gonna happen to my 5 kids? They're very young, my wife, my career. And suddenly though, and I have to let you know, I almost played tennis, professional tennis. I always was a competitor in tennis. I was in the national junior team. And then later on, I came to the States to play NCAA Division I tennis and did very well. And much better after my life coach came and saw me in the final playing in Venezuela, the South American Open final. And I was winning the match and I lost in 5 hours, 5 sets. And I was always ahead until the end. Anyway, I went to embrace him. I was so happy to see him. He actually taught my opponent as well. And we both went to embrace him after the match. And so Freddie left, who was one of my role models. I was playing one of my role models in the final. And Xavi, a French tennis coach who taught us all in Venezuela, all of us in this club, he said, man, you play great, but you lost here. You lost in your mind. And 2 days later, one day before I came back to the States to go to school, my junior year, he invited me to lunch. So I went to see him. It was an honor for him to invite me. And so we're having this conversation, and then he comes up with this book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, written back in, I think it was 1909 or 1910, but what a book. And he says, Jorge, or Jorge, because he was French, he said, Jorge, this book is going to take your tennis to another level. You're going to come back from behind and win matches and this and that, but more importantly, it's going to help you through your life. And little did I know that that little book, which I have written when I was sick, I read it like 3 more times, actually helped me survive. a malignant melanoma with 8 tumors in my brain, and 2 of them not operable. So when I got home that day, I just obviously told my wife through the phone, and I said, well, should I tell the kids? Should I not? They just lost their grandmother 3 weeks before. And now daddy. I couldn't even warn my mother. You know, I just, it's too soon. Now I'm the one with cancer. But I always feared it. Remember this. I always fear this. The power, remember the secret. Oh, this is one of the rules of the mind that we're going to share in a second. But within this pacing from left to right in my office, I suddenly said, it must be my competitive spirit. Tennis is really individual. You win or lose. You either beat somebody or you get your ass kicked. No other, there's no tie, there's no we won as a team or we lost as a team. You become a different person because it's you. You have to be the one out there playing even your best friend. But you have to, you know, you're there to win. At that moment, I said, no way. This is not going to happen. I'm going to beat the odds. And I'm going to be the very first person in my family who defeats this monster. And I went on my journey. And after 10 years and 10 surgeries, 4 of them craniotomies, and 2 gamma knives as well, I beat the odds and conquered a stage 4 melanoma with 8 tumors in my brain and 2 of them non-operable. Because of that, my friends, I made some changes in my life, and people thought I was crazy because of all this hammering in my brain, but I decided to leave my CTO position, which was very shaky. I couldn't work. I did transitioning, working from home. We brought another CTO. But I made a leap of faith and went into the health and wellness world, because surviving for me is a blessing, and was a blessing, because God gave me the chance to sing the song I was born to sing, which is helping people and giving people hope that it can be done. But there's something that I call it the visual cycle, but it was very frustrating. I have my first surgery, and thank God for these 10 surgeries, because if without them and the amazing doctors at the University of Miami, especially the neurosurgeon, I would not be talking to you guys. So I have nothing against the advancements of medicine and great surgeons that have this vocation of through surgery to help us out. But it was surgery. I had my first surgery. They removed, this was ambulatory. They removed the tumor, which came back 3 weeks later. I had my biopsies, a sentinel biopsy, and all kinds of stuff. The whole thing, it's a new life all of a sudden. You have a new routine in your life on top of what you already had. And that's already a shocking situation. It's just like it's pushed into you. Okay, now you gotta go to doctor visits, biopsies, all this stuff, and blah, 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 and all your energy goes in there. Needless to say, then obviously, so I had my first surgery. They actually removed the tumor again here, and they removed 23 lymph nodes from my right side because I had a lymph node that was positive right behind my ear. So they moved 23 lymph nodes, and 3 of those lymph nodes, they could not get to them. So they made the decision, without asking my wife or anything, to remove a neck muscle in order to take those 3 tumors out. And guess what? Out of those 23, those 3 were positive. So there you go. The divine was there all the time. If they decided to leave them there, maybe I would not be here. This is a very aggressive form of cancer. So then I go to my first cycle of chemotherapy, and on month 4, through this first chemo, which was really a form of, also a chemo, is interferon, which, by the way, they found that somebody with hepatitis that had melanoma was cured from melanoma. So they tried it on me. That's really what medicine is, trial and error. So they tried it on me. I felt like I had the flu every single day. Every single day for 4 months. I was just terrible. I'm miserable. And suddenly I feel another very hard lymph node on my left ear. Remember, my first lesion was right in the center of my skull. That's what they did as a sentinel biopsy. And so they biopsied that and it was positive. So they decided to take another 22 lymph nodes from my left side. This time they didn't have to sacrifice any muscles or anything, and 2 of them were positive. So again, a few weeks later, they put me on a different type of chemo, and now I'm on chemo, and and the loop started, the visual cycle started, and it was very emotional as well. Here it is: surgery, treatment, remission, celebration, I'm on remission, reoccurrence. Oh my goodness, all over again. Surgery, treatment, remission, celebration, recurrence. By the year 4, I had 5 surgeries already.
Excuse me, Georges.
And I'm sorry?
Georges, do you still need the screen share?
I'm going to do it right now, and that's why, real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can see me okay, right? Okay. So anyway, on year 8, in this loop, I was frustrated. I was broke with 5 kids, 1 income in the family, 1.25, because I try to do many things from home. I had a lot of contacts in the corporate world, but it wasn't enough. 7 people in 1 household. And all of a sudden, I get my first tumor in my front lobe. It was the size of a key lime. In 3 months, I had an MRI 3 months earlier, and it wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, I'm starting to stutter and talking to my clients in Spanish. And my wife was saying, something's wrong. You were talking to Don Smith. What? You were talking to him in Spanish. I said, no, I wasn't. Yeah, you were. And so I started to get these symptoms. My wife at that time was an ultrasound tech and radiologist, radiology as a tech. And she thought there was something wrong. So she actually called my oncologist and said, look, something's wrong with Georges. I remember that I was at a client's office in downtown Miami, and we went to lunch, and suddenly we finished eating, but my plate was full. And I just kept hearing, are you okay? Are you okay, Georges? Are you okay? And so I came back and I said, no, I'm fine. Yeah, but you didn't eat. And so they made sure when we crossed, we went through some streets in downtown that was in the middle. And going up the elevator, I lost my vision. All of a sudden, for a few seconds, I couldn't see. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I really got scared and said, oh, my wife is right, something's wrong. So one of our clients, I was working with Accenture at that time, before as a junior partner, and then I transitioned out of there. But anyway, he called my wife and she said, look, take his keys out, don't let him drive. I'm gonna go get him, and then on the metro, and the metro will take us to right at the door of the University of Miami Hospital, Sylvester Cancer Center. So that's all we did. And the day after that, I was having my first craniotomy, first of 4. It was a 9-hour surgery. And as I came out of that, everything went well, no strokes and stuff. Everything that they told me could be wrong Again, protecting, I guess, for lawsuits or whatever. It didn't go wrong. So at that moment, I really felt I was born again. But I have to share something with you. The moment they were put me to sleep, guess what? I wasn't thinking about the fancy cars, the big home, the vacations, all this stuff. I was thinking of my kids. I was thinking if I was going to see them, do their first communion. Claudia, if she was the only girl and 7 years old, all the kids finishing high school. And the things that I had not done that I always said I would do. And that's really what was in my mind and my heart. So they put me to sleep. I wake up. Everything is, I remember the doctor saying, how do you say blue in Spanish? Boom. And so when I finally wake up from recuperating in the recuperation room, Dr. Benveniste says, so what is the answer? And I say, azul. And everybody was clapping, the doctors, they were, hey, yeah, it went well, whatever. And again, now this time they say, we're gonna give you radiotherapy for 6 weeks in your head. I didn't know better. I say, okay, let's do it. And I have a doctor, surgeon in the family, and a family doctor. My daughter's godparents are both doctors. My wife is. So for them, it was natural. Yeah, go ahead, do it. They warned me that maybe I would have more cancer in my, more tumors in my brain due to the radiotherapy. And I still did it. We'll talk about that in a second with the rules of the mind. Anyway, they gave me now this new capsule, this new chemotherapy that penetrates the brain. Because before that, they couldn't make it happen. It was Temodar. And they said, you're gonna take it in capsules. You're gonna take one capsule every day for a week, then take a break on the weekend, then you're gonna do the same thing the second week, and 3 weeks like that. Guess what, by the way, this is year 8, really. We were basically tapping into our 401ks, our ROIs, college funds for the kids. We had no money. And all these medical bills starting to build up and so forth. These capsules, my friends, each capsule $1,000. Each capsule $1,000. So I take my first 5. They gave me this thing called Kaplan for potential seizures, which after my second one, I faked that I was taking them at home, but I wasn't, and they were really making me crazy. And so on my second Monday, so this is my 6th capsule, I take it, and within half hour, I really thought I was having a heart attack. My heart was pumping so hard and so fast. I became having this anxiety, basically an anxiety situation. And I was sweating, very, very cold sweat. Alone, the kids were in school. I called my sister to pick them up, and I waited for my wife to come from work. I sat on the piano to see if I could, calm down, and I couldn't. So I lay down in the family room's couch and kind of like started to breathe in and out and getting rid of it. And when my wife came, she asked me, "What's wrong? What happened to you?" And as I was laying down, it's when I first really prayed for discernment. I was really fed up, frustrated, 8 years into this vicious cycle, and not feeling well, poor quality of life. Even though I tried, I played tennis still, I would, run and even do some races, but, throwing up, all stuff. But I never took the attitude of a patient. That's very dangerous, because you give all your power to the doctor, and you don't want to do that. Anyway, so here it is. I'm frustrated. My wife gets home, and I say, "Look, we're Catholic, we're Christian. I have a lot of faith." That was the key component in my And we talked with Carrie the other day. It doesn't matter, but I have to say it because it's my experience. So I told my wife, look, this is what happened. Let's go to the chapel, a church. They had what we Catholics have the Blessed Sacrament exposed, okay, which is the host that we have when we have communion on Sundays. So I went to the chapel, went to the altar right in front of it, and I kneeled and I cried. I cried my butt off. My wife in the back behind me, sitting in a bench, because it was so. This is a little tiny place where they have the Blessed Sacrament. And as I was crying, I surrendered for the first time, 8 years. I totally surrendered to God, and I say, look, the doctors can find a way to help me out. And I'm feeling really bad with this. My family, look, they're growing up. My kids are growing up fearing that daddy is going to be gone. I mean, this whole thing, this emotional trip, which I now look back as a blessing, but it wasn't at that time. I don't wish this to anyone. And so as I was doing that, I came to the decision that I would stop traditional treatments and I would take the natural, the holistic health journey to heal myself. And this past Saturday, it was my 13th anniversary free of the disease. Now, one of the things that I did was mental rehearsing, because I learned that in my competitive tennis years. And remember the power of the subconscious mind. So I started to use these techniques to heal from cancer. I would imagine this divine ray of light coming through my head, going through all my body, melting away all cancer cells, bad cancer cells and tumors. I also imagine yourself closing your eyes and seeing this creature, the Pac-Man creature, going around your body, eating all the tumors 3 times a day, on top of my meditations in the morning, which I still do, and prayer, contemplative prayer, and some of the prayers and mantras that really helped me at the time. So here we go, the healing power of the mind. This is going to be very quick, because I have a surprise for you in a second, and I think we're doing good with time. Right, Mark? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So this is my acronym. This is what I show my clients. Okay. When we start our first session, we're creating a roadmap to their health. And I always tell them, relax your health, relax yourself to healing. Healing doesn't happen from a stressful situation. Don't even think about it, because it's not possible. The more relaxed you are through your journey, the better. So heal, honor your body's wisdom. We all have this amazing wisdom. Our intuition is our best coach, by the way. Empower your mind and emotions. A for align with Mother Earth's pharmacy. And we have Dr. Gary. I mean, every time he speaks, I take so many notes, and I'm a nutritionist. But you always learn something new. But we have to align with all this stuff that Mother Earth is giving us. And they're natural, not chemicals. And the last one, L, live your best life in balance and radiance. So, as a holistic coach, what is holistic healing? Holistic health? People ask me, what is holistic health? The best answer I found was, it's an approach to well-being that considers the whole person, including their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health, as opposed to just the physical symptoms of a disease or condition. However, in my 8 years as a holistic health coach and all the stuff that I have been building to better serve my clients, a proven technique for my clients is combining holistic health with conventional treatments. Later on, as we go into the program, they start wondering when the doctor says, man, I don't know what you're doing, but we're going to lower the the dose of your chemo, something's going on, and they explain. But then that all of a sudden they go, oh, but be careful, don't take this because it could really mess up your treatment, which it could be. So, but it's always about losing your power to these individuals who are trying to do the best for you, but they are not nutritionists, they're not psychologists, they're not acupuncturists, they're not massage therapists. And so, you know, I remember saying, doctor, I'm down to 132 pounds. What can I do to recuperate my weight? And poor thing, he just said, oh, have this. I always tell my clients to drink this protein, this chocolate thing. It came in cans, and he had 20, listen to this, Gary, 29 teaspoons of refined sugar. In other words, I don't know, it was like 30 grams of sugar in that little can. Can you imagine the acidity of the chemo and now getting all this acidity from refined sugar? The perfect environment for cancer cells to grow and start and you know, strive. So anyway, this is what holistic health is, and I don't try to tell me, only 3 clients have gone all natural from the beginning. Nobody else. Everybody continues to do their thing, and you'll see why. So as a holistic coach, I work the body, emotions, the soul, and your mind. Today we're going to talk about the power of the mind. It helped me with my tennis. It's helped me doing presentations when I was in the corporate world, and it definitely saved my life. Part of why I'm here today is because I used the power, and without knowing until I became a hypnotherapist, that there were 13 rules of the mind, and they all make sense to me. I didn't know that, but I really trusted the process from reading that book from Dr. Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. So here are the rules of the mind, okay? And let me see if I can make it a little, okay. Anybody wants to read them, or I'll just go very slow. This is really quick, Mark. But it's worth it. And by the way, we're gonna share it. I'll share this presentation. Every thought you think and every word you say is a blueprint of your mind, body, and psyche working to make it real. The strongest force in every human being in the world is that we must act in a way that is consistent with our thinking. Every thought you think has a physical reaction and an emotional response. Imagination is more powerful than logic. Your mind learns by repetition. This is a key one. All of this apply to our healing, or from anything that you want to improve. Use the power of your mind. It is said that we only use 10% of it. Number 6, what you expect almost always tends to be realized. Imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Your mind does not care if what you tell is true or false, good or bad. It just lets it in. We are hardwired and super coded to resist what is unfamiliar and run back to what is familiar. The most important words you will ever hear comes from you. So praise yourself all the time. With repetition, your ego will shut up and things will happen for you. Your mind responds to the pictures you put in your head and the words you construct, the words you say to yourself. Number 11, the way you feel about anything is down to the words you say to yourself. The mind cannot hold conflicting beliefs. The mind seeks pleasure and avoids pain. Like I said, we're going to share this, and I said I have a surprise for you, but if you allow me, we have time. I'd like to do a mental rehearsal with you guys. It's about 10 minutes. So you guys want to do it? Are we allowed to do that, Mark? All righty. So please go ahead and close your eyes. And take a deep breath in and gently let it go. Take another deep breath in and exhale. And one more time, take a deep breath of love and healing and exhale everything and anything that doesn't serve you. And feel your shoulders soften and your body begin to settle. Let go of the outside world for a moment and bring your attention inward. Now imagine above your head a brilliant sphere of divine light. It glows with an energy so pure, so loving, so intelligent, that it knows exactly what you need. This is a divine healing ray, a stream of pure consciousness sent from the heart of Source, of Spirit, of creation itself. And it begins its gentle descent now, touching the crown of your head. Like warm golden sunlight, it seeps into your scalp, relaxing every muscle. You may feel a tingle, a warmth, or simply a deep sense of peace. As the ray enters your head, it begins to dissolve all mental clutter, any overthinking, confusion, all thoughts that no longer serve you. They are gently lifted and dissolved in light. You become more clear, still, and open. The healing ray moves down through your face and neck, releasing tension in your jaw, softening your throat. Feel how it moves through your vocal cords, dissolving any unspoken pain or blocked expression. You are safe to speak your truth. Now it reaches your heart space. Here, the ray pauses for a moment, expanding. Let it bathe your heart in light. Feel it releasing old emotional wounds, lifting sadness, anger, fear, and feelings that have been trapped or buried. Allow the divine ray to purify your emotional body. Breathe deeply as your heart is filled with compassion, forgiveness, and love for yourself and for others. Now, the ray continues its descent into your solar plexus, melting fear, control, and pressure. It reminds you, you are enough, you are safe, you are guided. As the light flows into your abdomen, it moves deeper into your cells. Each cell is awakened by its touch. The divine ray begins to scan your body, now going cell by cell with perfect intelligence. All damaged, unhealthy cells or disharmonious cells are gently dissolved, removed, and returned to source. All healthy cells are nourished, strengthened, and restored to perfect function. Let this divine intelligence do its work. You may feel warmth, tingles, or simply trust the healing is occurring now deep within your body's wisdom. As the ray reaches your lower abdomen and hips, feel any old pain, trauma, or fear being washed away. You're becoming lighter, clear, whole. And now the ray moves through your legs, your thighs, your knees, calves, and feet, grounding you into the earth. It connects you to stability, to nourishment, to the deep healing energy of Mother Earth. Feel yourself supported from above and below. Now, take a few deep breaths as the healing ray settles through your entire being. From crown to toes, you are filled with divine light. Every cell is harmonized. Every thought is clear. Your emotions are calm and balanced. You are now a radiant vessel of light and healing. Take a final breath in, and as you exhale, feel gratitude for your body, your spirit, and this healing. And when you are ready, slowly wiggle your fingers and toes and gently bring yourself back into the room. God bless you. So, 2 more slides and I'll get out of here so we can do some, this is the surprise, my friends. What we did, I recorded it, and I actually will share a link so you can get this, a document similar to this, and you will get the recording of this visualization we just did. But what I want you to do in this challenge is, if you mark every day for 6 straight days, so that means until from today to next Wednesday, you will be part of my free command cell therapy session. That's a hypnosis treatment therapy. If you don't know about hypnosis, don't worry. This is not like you lose control and I want to take all your money. It doesn't work that way. It is very powerful, as a matter of fact. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to mark every time you hear, you mark day 1, day 2. When you finish, I asked Mark yesterday if there's not that many people, maybe some people will hear the recording and our Facebook group. But the ones that do it will schedule a session for sometime the week after or the weekend. We'll see how it works for people. And believe me, the mind, as we just went through, learns by repetition. This was key to my healing. Maybe I was blessed that I saw how it worked when I was preparing and getting ready for big presentations in my corporate world, and when I do some public speaking today, but also with my tennis. They started with that. And as a matter of fact, here in the Southwest, I now don't live in the South Florida. I live in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I live in the state of New Mexico. But, in many cases, they were saying that Georges was a tough dog to kill. My tennis opponents, they would probably say, "Oh my God, I have to play Georges. I have to play Jorge," because I would not give up, man. I just saw I saw the final result, and most of the time, obviously, I got my butt kicked many times, but it worked. So, if you guys have any questions and answers, or any comments, I'm open for them. And let me just share it right away, because if not, I'm gonna mess up here. This stuff, this link for you guys. Here it is. And there you can download this visualization. And if you want to do the challenge, you can download that document. All right. So let me put it in here. Boom. So, what are you guys? How do you feeling? How do you feel?
Go ahead, Dr. Gary.
Wow, Georges, eres un bendición del Dios en cielo. I just said that
Amen.
you're a blessing from heaven, and
Amen.
your words touched us. And wow, I think that you should be spearheading the Cancer Conquering Mind Health Alliance. And please come back and share more. Your words are poignant, spot on, and everybody on the globe needs to hear it and understand it. And it definitely touched me. So thank you. You're a blessing,
Thank you.
a blessing. And I'm a Latin lover, married a South American Ecuadorian. Me encanta los Latinos, Ligia. and I'm a tennis player. So I just
Oh yeah.
resonated with your, yeah, I love tennis. So
Well,
not as good as
take
you.
your rackets. Take your rackets to the summit. Maybe we get some time to hit some balls. I'm planning to go if everything goes okay. We'll like to go. It's right
Yeah.
around the corner. But anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank God bless you.
God
Thank you.
bless you.
I just want to say, chime in about hypnotherapy. Uh, I believe in hypnotherapy 100%. And in the worst of my journey, I was working with a hypnotherapist in the country of Cyprus, and we did it over Zoom. And I was skeptical. I'd always heard about what everybody else hears. You go to an event and the hypnotist hypnotizes you and makes you do all these stupid things, and
That was
that's the
me.
perception of what hypnosis is, and it's so far from the truth. But anyway, here's what convinced me about hypnotherapy. So my hypnotherapist, she would take me just real similar to what George's just did, take me through a hypnotic trance. And she told me, she said, we're going to go real deep this time. And so I said, okay. And she said, you're going to be crying like a baby. And I'm thinking, yeah, sure. I just don't, but I said, okay, I'll go along with it in my mind. And, I'm here. And so she put me through this trance. And what it was all about was going back in my life, back to my childhood, and relieving things that were traumatic and relieving trauma. And so she took me back to an event that I had on the schoolyard when I was 7 years old. And I had even forgotten about it. And we were playing football on the school grounds, and it was on asphalt, and I caught a touchdown pass, and I was real happy. And this one of my classmates took my head and he mashed it against the chain link fence right against the pole, the metal pole that went across, and it broke my teeth in front. And I believe, looking back now, it gave me a concussion because I was just, I was just dazed. And, it's, I know he did it on purpose because you don't mash somebody's head against
Hmm.
against the pipe, break their teeth, and it was like, oh, it was an accident. So what the process was she was wanted me to forgive him. And so all of a sudden, I was fully conscious, but I was crying like a baby, and tears were just flowing down. And I'm thinking to myself, what is happening here? Well, this is wild. And I couldn't stop. I was like, but I just went along with the way she was guiding me. And after the session, it was like I felt so good and I felt so relieved. And so that made me believe, helped me my belief in hypnotherapy and all the things that it could do, because we carry these things through our life and we bury them. And no matter how rough and tough we may be, this is not good for us. And these are things that we need to release in our lives. So, if you need to, do something like that and you need to free yourself, if you need to forgive somebody, contact George's because, you just saw an example of what he could do. So I just wanted to chime in with that. And if anybody else has anything to
Yeah.
chime in,
And real
go
quick
ahead.
to that thought, Mark, I recently went to see my dermatologist. I go once a year, and I also go to an eye doctor because I do have a tiny freckle in one of my eyes, and melanoma actually goes through, in many cases, can keep going to your eyes. So I do my follow-ups only on that. I haven't had a scan in maybe now 6 years. But talking to the dermatologist, I told her about this young kid that I was working with, a kid that doesn't even go to the beach. I mean, he's from Argentina, Gary. I mean, from Venezuela, but due to the situation in Venezuela, they migrated parents and kids to Argentina. And the kid, Diego, I mean, has a couple melanoma tumors in the brain. And so they reached out. I don't know how, I think he was from a podcast. And I started working with him. And I told my dermatologist about him and said, okay, he's so introvert. Basically, he's playing games. He's almost flunking high school. They're very worried about him and doing the games all the time. He's addicted. Maybe the radiation from the screens, I don't know. And he goes, well, did you know, Georges, we just found out that melanoma is also emotional. All disease are emotional, and they start on acidic bodies. Our pH balance is too acidic, which again, I said it a second ago, that's where cancer cells thrive to grow and duplicate. So before I shared an ebook, I'll share it again next week because it's new people that I wrote based on this conversation. And first thing I did when I went the natural route was see a naturopath, that an angel in the form of human said, go see this guy. And he told me, he said everything about a biochemist. He just said, look, if you manage to take your pH now, the acidity that you have built in 8 years with chemo and radiotherapy back. I mean, if we balance your pH, you're going to start dissolving, destroying the environment that the cells want to live in, any disease. And if you are there, disease cannot come in. So, this is for prevention, and also one tip in terms of, hey, help yourself. Like the doctor the other day, that oncologist, man, you gotta own this. Don't give your power just to this guy or lady, because chances are they're not gonna remember you. They have to look at your file before they talk to you. They have too many patients. It's not possible. It's not possible for you to get the care that you need. So you have to take control on the conventional stuff. That's what I tell my clients. And I took so many notes from her the other day, because I mean, it's good for my clients to listen to that. But yeah, emotions. The thing with hypnotherapy, which we didn't do, this was a visualization, is that you get rid of beliefs that no longer serve you. And believe it or not, they're producing acidity in your body. When you remember something, where if you get a chance to read my book, I actually worked on the healing power of forgiveness. We could actually do a talk on that. Because you're carrying all this venom, and some people that might have hurt you don't even remember they hurt you. So that's another component of the holistic self, of the emotional side. But thank you.
Go ahead, Dr. Gary.
Um, what George is saying right now is so spot on. Your acronyms with HEAL and with the four things that really just, I mean, the whole communication, but four things, psychosomatic illness, which you touched on, which means you can literally will cancer into your being.
Mm,
I know this personally. You've seen it. We've all seen it. My mother, although uh, she was irradiated for facial acne at age 14, which caused thyroid cancer 8 years later. And then throughout my adult life, she pretty much had metastatic thyroid because they didn't clear all the margins with the iodine drink, and then breast adenocarcinoma, and then liver cancer. But so that's called iatrogenic physician-induced cancer. Um, Something about her, the power of the mind that you touched on is all important. You can will cancer, you can will cancer death with your mind. You've seen it, you
mhm,
teach on it. Your faith, absolutely 100%. You have to have your faith in alignment, and your pH. You touched upon something that we've talked about. Uh, Cancer thrives in a high sugar environment and a low pH environment, meaning that an acidic environment is a great breeding ground for cancer cells to thrive and survive. So, like you said so poignantly, is that if you can influence your pH, and we've talked about this, Chip's talked about this, Mark's talked about this. If you can balance your endocrine system, your hormones, and create an alkalizing physiology, 7.5 being normal, pH balance, and under that being acidic, giving cancer what it likes, sugar environment, and then if you can improve the alkaline environment with plant-based nutrition, and whether it's alkaline water
mhm,
supplementation, you can actually, and like we talked about, and you touched on, with your mind and your nutrition, you can eradicate cancer. And of course, the divine is the main component here, and what you touched on so brilliantly is, and everybody needs to hear, is that you can set up conditions through mind health and through forgiveness and all these things that you talked about. You can set up an environment that's literally battling cancer. You could put on the shield of honor, the divine
mhm,
shield, and you can literally, with hypnosis, with the mind education, repetition is the mother of skill. You can literally dissolve cancer cells with your brain
mhm,
and with your nutrition. And I think it's just so important to hear this. I don't mean to take up time, but
mhm.
it's
Thank
relevant.
you.
Everybody on this call should download the information that he just sent. And I hope you'll come back and do more of this.
Yeah. by the way, do you want me, Mark? I'll just put up. You do have a folder in my on in my drive, so we can put the presentation on the Facebook. I don't know if anybody wants it. I can just upload it. So
Why don't you just post it on the page, Georges?
okay,
Yeah, I clicked on the
Let's
link
make it
and
easy.
actually was able to download it to my computer. So
okay,
that's another option. And then, yeah,
yeah,
thank you for sharing that.
yeah. Thank you. I tell you, it's so powerful, really. And you know, the whole thing is taking action, really. We know in the New Testament, this is just he's my best coach is Jesus in terms of service and love. But one of the apostles said that do not deceive yourselves. Take action on your faith, because faith without action is dead. And I heard this not so popular guy, Tony Robbins. Everybody knows this guy. But he did say something that it really struck me. First of all, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. But secondly, and this is very important, an intention without action becomes an illusion. You just stay there. So I always dare my prospect client to say, are you willing to take action? Because this is not theory. I'm going to put you to work, create some new habits and stuff. And that's why my prevention program is 90 days, it's 3 months. And the one-on-one cancer recovery is 1 year. And we go by quarters. We touch heavily in the 4 legs of the table. And when I have questions, especially on nutrition and some of the, now I have a team that actually I can ask for, Dr. Gary, Chip, and even Mark with other stuff. But it is just, I heard the other day, this guy that I was so impressed. He says, a body that is healthy heals himself. That's it. And I add, if you have a healthy emotions, your emotional clutter, free of mental clutter, you have a strong connection to the source. It doesn't have to be religion. And take care of your body. There's no way you will recuperate from this very gloomy stats. 66% of US adults have 1 to 3 chronic diseases right now. Wow, that made me think I got to do a program for prevention, because, you know, this is crazy. 1 or 2 men will have cancer, 1 or 3 women will have cancer. That's just, we're probably in the first world countries, the one that is the sickest. I don't think any other country is as bad as we are.
We are the sickest country of all of them, and
Yeah,
it's getting worse. And a clean and healthy body will heal itself. You're
yes.
absolutely right. It's great to hear that.
Okay.
What we're going to do right now, Georges, is we're going to close out this recording. So I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us here at the Cancer Conquering Community. And be sure to join us next week for Zach Demopoulos and Selma Archer, who are caregiving experts. They wrote a phenomenal book about caregiving, and they will be here next week on July 24th. And so if you want to catch any of these recordings, you can do it one of two ways. You can check on our Facebook page. We put all the recordings after the event on Thursdays. We'll put it on our page. Or you can go directly to our YouTube channel, Cancer Conquering Community, and you could check out the videos there. Some videos you may have to message me because I put it on my Rumble channel. So be on the lookout for that. But just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for joining us here. And we will see you next week on the Cancer Conquering Community. Thank you.